My name is Rita George. I'm the Chief Program Officer here. This is our fourth and final session of Day 1, brought to you by Guitar Center. We are very grateful for their support. And I have to take a moment to thank and praise our education staff, our production staff, and all of the folks who are helping put this on. But I have to give a special shout out to Julie Mutnansky. She's in the corner there. Can y'all give her a special hand? She and Maddie have worked tirelessly on this with support from Skylar and Cindy and Ashley and Ghost and so many people on this team, Vivek and Valeria and everybody. I'm forgetting names, but I just want to make sure that we talk about that. So we are coming to you live from beautiful downtown Los Angeles on a chilly day, keeping us all on our toes. This is streaming worldwide, so we're thrilled to have everyone online as well. And I invite you all to come back in person for 3 more days of free workshops and panel discussions, or register online on our website or gitsfest.com. So for our fourth and final session of the day, we are thrilled to spotlight some guest artists today. Chase Atlantic. Can I have a round of applause? Yes. And we have a wonderful moderator who's going to take it away, Mr. Travis Mills. Come on up, Travis.
Thank you so much. How are we feeling out there? Well, you guys aren't here to listen to me talk, so I think without further ado, I'm going to bring out Chase Atlantic.
How we doing?
What's up? What's up?
Thank you for having us.
Hi.
Gentlemen,
Thank you for being here, Travis.
thank you for having me. I'm really excited because I've gotten to witness just a little bit of the journey, but I know everyone out here and people that are watching at home on the live stream, I'm sure, are intrigued.
Shout out you guys. Thank you for tuning
Shout
in.
out.
Hopefully we have some insight for you guys.
I think
we should.
I think that's a definite, right? I think the first question, what I want to kind of start things off with and really take it back to the beginning, but, you know, how do 3 kids from Australia end up on stage here at the Grammy Museum?
It's very out of our territory. You know what I mean? Coming all the way from Australia, we grew up in this continent that is separated from the rest of the world. You know what I mean? And there's kind of a glass ceiling in the industry, in the Australian music industry. Not to put anything down, but you can only reach a certain level of potential before you kind of just hit this glass ceiling and you can't expand any further. So what we did, we actually became a band because Clinton was in university. Christian and I were both in high school, and he needed to make a project. Yeah, he needed to make a project for his
So you were essentially making them do your homework.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
It was a quick escape rap. but
Take
it was,
notes. Take notes, everybody here.
I still
Do
didn't
your
graduate,
homework.
though. I didn't graduate.
So
I picked the wrong guys.
I eventually did the same. I eventually did the same course, and I got 1.5 years through. And then by that point, we had kind of discovered our sound and the way that we make music, and we were pretty confident, and we were getting people like Joel and Benji, Madden, sending us Twitter DMs.
yeah, Joel
DM.
reached out on DM.
We thought it was fake at first when he was...
Yeah, we started
He
getting
slid into
streams,
the
though,
DM.
because we did it. We were doing everything in the bedroom. We started getting streams, and it kind of popped off, and someone must have, just... Because they were starting a management company, so it just the perfect timing of it all, and we connected, and we hung out in, Sydney, right?
Yeah.
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 And
Sydney.
it always kind of feels weird being like, I want to pursue music as a career, because it is very difficult, you know? There's a lot of competition, and the market is saturated with a lot of music. Like just from when we sat down, there's probably been about 100 songs that have been released. You know what I mean?
100 new bands.
I think it's something like 20,000 songs come out every Friday.
That's insane.
Yeah.
You would know, right?
I know a little bit
Yeah,
about
you got the inside scoop.
But I mean, it's one thing, right, to want to start a band, and essentially, like you said, right, being on the outside of everything. I mean, who were the musicians that you had playing in the house when you were growing up that even showed you what was possible?
100%. Art has to be inspired by other art. There's no denying that. Unless there's anomalies, out there that who just create a whole new sound by themselves.
Which
but
was kind of artists like the 1975. For us, all similarly at the same time, falling in love with that band.
so we started out like listening and making music in that genre. But then we slowly developed to finding our own sound because we started appreciating different genres and like all the different ways you can approach music. And I think it's about finding your sound and like sticking to it and then keep evolving it.
It's one thing to kind of sit down with each other and be like, okay, we're going to start a band.
Yeah, it was never a decision. It just kind of happened.
There was never that conversation, really.
What's the first time you three step on stage together like? What was that first experience of like picking up instruments, turning on a microphone?
I think we were freaking out because we were
Was
like,
it-
what do we do up here?
Was it the basketball court in Australia, the
Oh,
Sydney
God.
Kings?
And we had dancers around us too because it was like a cheerleading thing.
We had dancers around us. We had no
But
idea
we
what
had
we were
guitars in
doing.
our hands. We're like, are we a rock band or are we like a
got
cheerleading
booed.
band?
We
Yeah,
got
we were no
booed.
good. I think we got booed.
They want to watch basketball, not us.
How many-
Let that be
how many
lesson.
people
Let
were-
nothing deter you. You will get booed at the beginning, maybe sometimes. You probably won't. We got booed.
We did, in fact, get booed.
It pushed us a little further to keep working.
Do you remember how many people were there?
Too many.
Too many.
Well, I mean, enough to hear the booze.
They were there for the basketball.
I mean, yeah, like Sydney basketball, Sydney Kings, probably at least 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Each one of them booing us.
Your
maybe
first show
even
was
our
for
parents.
10,000 people?
Yeah.
We had no
It was a
stage
basketball
production,
arena,
just
yeah.
dancers.
Deep end. Thrown right into the deep end.
And it was like, like we had no drummer, we had no bass guitarist. It was just you and I with the guitar, and then
Yeah.
and then didn't you do the national anthem as well?
Yeah, you did. Mitchell did it. You did
That
it.
sucks.
Classical voice.
The singer didn't turn up, so Mitchell had to do it. And I'd never heard you sing like that before.
I don't think I actually knew all the words. I'm not gonna lie to you. But that's okay. We're getting
probably why they booed
off
us.
topic here.
No, this is what the people really want to know.
Like music, it can be discouraging sometimes, but the reward is always worth like the perseverance and putting everything you have into it. You have to be confident enough in yourself to not let that kind of stuff deter you.
You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are here right now sitting in the crowd and obviously watching this at home, but what does your family say? You know, when you start out on this journey, when you want to pursue this dream, right, of being an artist?
Tentative,
We were
always.
fortunate. We had parents that were very supporting. And
That's rare.
it is. And still there's that background, in your own brain going, shit. Like all three of my sons turned into bloody...
Yeah, they all want to be
an arts
artists.
degree.
Like none of them wanted to be a lawyer. None of them wanted to be a doctor. They all wanted to be artists. Damn it.
Dang it. But still supportive. It was very nice.
Our parents are music lovers as well.
Yeah.
So they've always been supportive of us. Maybe not all the time of the lyrics, but maybe not that, but...
No, I definitely get a lot of phone calls from my mom being like,
Why
"Why
are you
would you say that
swearing?"
stuff? Like, it's a song. It's a little exaggerated. Don't think about it too much."
Yeah, my parents tell all the cousins and stuff that come in advance, like, sorry for the swearing. And we have to do the same. Sorry about the swearing. It's just,
Yeah.
it's art.
It's actually our
art.
main line before shows. Sorry about the swearing, everyone. I'm so sorry.
We're so sorry.
It's just
Yeah.
an art form, though. It's like a painting. You can paint anything. So
I mean, conviction is key. If we're gonna talk about like things that, if you're watching at home or if you're in the audience, if you want to be a musician, if that's your passion, you know what I mean. If that's your calling, it's just about being confident in yourself and really just like sticking to your guns and just no matter what gets said, no matter what happens, it's conviction as well. I think that comes back to the swearing stuff. It's conviction. Like I don't want to swear that much. It just happens.
Comes
it just
out.
yeah. So conviction and really using what you've gone through in life and all the different kind of experiences you've had, and like it's an outlet.
I've also noticed too, though, with the swearing stuff. Like, I know it's a weird subject, but because lyrical content, really, I think when you're starting out too, you try and be overconfident, maybe swear like too much or something like that, depending on your music style and genre.
Don't swear. Yeah, don't try and swear on purpose.
It can be used.
Yeah.
It can be used for sure, like in the right
Almost as a
context.
crutch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like obviously when you start out, you're like, oh.
But you can
F
tell
this,
when
blah,
people
blah,
are
blah.
forcing it sometimes. It
has to be natural.
You hear some artists and you're like, oh, it sounds weird when they're swearing. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that. You're like, that sounds weird when they swear. Like, it's like if Ed Sheeran started swearing. Yeah, so it has to be conviction. It has to come from within. Yeah.
Now, would you say that you three always had that confidence inside of yourselves, or do you feel like it's built up through momentum and through everything that you've accomplished?
Exactly what you said. Momentum.
Yeah. I don't think we knew that we liked making music. We knew we were pretty, above average producers. Even not really at the time.
We were confident. That's the thing. Like we were confident.
We can make a
The
song.
doubt's always there.
Yeah.
Like every day doesn't stop. Like even like now, some
yeah,
days you
you'll
wake up
never-
and still be like, how am I supposed to do any of this? But we're also pretty competitive by nature, so like you kind of force yourself into doing it, and you're your own worst critic. I
And the
judge a lot
love.
of stuff, but
and the love and the passion for it,
Yeah.
for being an outlet as well, is so crucial. But when you do become more recognized and more, I guess, successful, the pressure gets a lot heavier, and so you start putting that in your own head. And you can sometimes like get a little bit in a dark place, like, oh, there's a lot of pressure on my shoulders. But you just have to remember your roots of like why you started and why and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah.
And not put that pressure on yourself. Just be like dope shit is never on purpose.
Yeah.
It's never on purpose.
Because that pressure, it's not that it's not there at the start. It's just you're not really thinking about it until later on.
Yeah.
When you get into your, we're on our 4th record right now, and I think we've got a good back catalogue to compete with. You're almost in a way competing with yourself to make the best music possible and prove to yourself.
It's a PB, yeah. It's a personal best.
or when you're stuck in the snow for like 20 days and you really have to think about what you're doing up here.
For the people at home, we just drove through a blizzard to get here yesterday.
We almost died.
Yeah, it
Have
was not
you've seen the
fun.
storms, right? There's even LA's getting affected
It's
too, right? All of
a
California.
100-year storm in Lake Tahoe in a blizzard, and we drove
We made it.
drove back.
You shoveled for like I did it with you, but like 2 hours we were shoveling in the car.
Yeah, we're ripped now
We wanted
because
to be
we've
here.
Shoveling all day.
been shoveling so much.
We're getting off
Nice
topic,
shirt.
yeah. But regardless, that was all for the music, you know what I mean? And that was to come here and talk to you guys today. So thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.
I mean, being in a band, for a decade, what would you say is the most challenging thing about being in Chase Atlantic?
That
The most challenging thing is
That?
people always say like these guys never miss. They say these guys never miss, and that's really like something. It's like, okay, every song like they say, oh, they never miss. Like, what if we miss? You know what I mean? What if we make a song and it misses?
I'll
So
say
there's
having-
that extra pressure on top of it.
But having 3 people, like Paul Christian has 2 brothers in the band with him. That's a
it's like
nightmare to-
He's stuck in the middle of Oasis.
But at least
So
one of us.
Oasis had another member who was just like watching it happen, like, what?
They've had a decent run, though. They've had a decent run.
Yeah, no, but we don't do drugs
the
on
third
stage, and we don't fight as much.
But it is, like, I feel like one of the hard things has been us growing up, and not growing apart, but growing up and like moving out, not living in each other's pockets all the time. It's been a good thing, but before album cycles, we have to like rekindle again.
Yeah, it's
Bond,
definitely
so we're not you get a little bit out of sync musically and sonically sometimes.
it's like a seed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every new record, you have to plant the seed, and you have to wait for it to sprout,
Yeah.
and then you start getting the growth and the progression, and then
But weirdly enough, every time we link up again, we're all listening to the exact same records, the same artists. Like just before this, Skrillex releasing 2 records in 2 days, 2 unbelievable records.
that shit was amazing.
And a beard.
Yeah, and then Don Toliver while we're away, like all people that we're inspired by and sonically. And I just think that when we're all together listening to the same stuff, has been a very crucial part. Of
Very crucial. And I think it kind of it's not like competition based, but it's like basing what you're doing versus what someone else is doing and seeing ways you can improve upon what they're doing. It sounds like competition, but it's basically just a premise.
And we're music lovers, you know.
We're fans first. Like it's crazy that we have. I don't know how many monthly listeners we have. I'm not sure.
I think we're getting back up to 12 again, nearly.
Like
Yeah.
12 million monthly listeners, but like there's so many other artists that don't have that reach that I still look up to. So it's important to keep like a fan, like a fan of music mentality and not treat it like, all right, I'm on top. Like,
Yeah, never stop. That's a great one. Never stop listening to music, even when you're making your own music, because it's inspiring. You get ideas from it, and it's not really stealing. It's just
and you just love music because it's music. It's not about who has the most streams.
yeah.
It's not about who has the most successful song. It's about who's
How it makes you
making stuff
feel.
and how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
What's the most rewarding thing about being in Chase Atlantic?
These two guys.
Oh.
Give a round of applause for Mitchell, everyone, for the cutest thing he's ever said.
First and last.
Now the reward is we get to experience it together rather than alone. I think that's one of the coolest things about being in a band is that even if you're an individual artist, if you have people around you that are helping you, or friends or family, as long as you can show them your music and like they respond positively, that's all that matters is positive reinforcement.
You know, you were a solo artist originally, right? And then now in a band.
Yeah.
And you can feel the difference of having someone on, like, with you on stage. Being, like, it's really hard to be nervous on stage when you have your brothers
Exactly.
with you.
Or
know,
it can go south.
I was
if
about to
you're
say,
in
you can go
a
south too, I'm sure.
If you got
if you
somebody
hate
bringing
your
you
member,
down.
you need to love the people you're making music and performing with.
You need to be friends foremost and fans of music together, because you could be in a band with someone who completely hates the music that you want to
Yeah,
make.
it's like, you know how back in the day they used to like do auditions for bands?
That
Making
was
the band?
Yeah. I got kicked out of a band when I was in high school because my voice was too high. And then I was like, oh, that
How many
sucks.
monthly listeners do
It's
they
gonna
have
happen
now?
again.
Well, the thing is, Xavier Main, who we
out.
have
Shout
with
out.
Chase Records, shout out Xavier Main. He actually is the one who replaced me.
Wow.
And that was in high school in like year 9. And then now here we are.
That's insane.
Don't let anything deter you. Just keep going. Strive.
It's also being
Yeah.
young too. Like we're young adults now. It's the first year we've actually moved out into individual houses, which is very different as well. Because it became very overwhelming, like just being together all the time. And then when COVID hit, that was a whole another story. But yeah, we were in this beautiful home, but there was like we're just trapped in this house the whole, which is what we're doing right now.
What we're doing
actually,
right
this
now
summer
in the
Tahoe.
blizzard.
Great.
Yeah. Trap
Um,
yourself indoors and just see what happens.
But if you can get through that, then you know you're pretty like solid as a group or band or what you like with other people.
Yeah.
What Mitchell's saying, you want the people to be like family pretty much because you're gonna have a bunch of tiffs and disagreements and like.
Yeah. I mean, it's a process. It's always going to be a process.
But you wanna be
It's an
happy.
It's an uphill challenge the whole time. However, the rewards are definitely worth the. You know what I mean? You make it to the peak of the mountain, and then you're like, this view is beautiful.
I mean, hearing you guys talk about this experience, you know, a through line that I'm hearing is that you really never stop learning, right? You never stop loving music. You never stop being a student. The irony here is that this all started because of school. I'm sure
Yeah.
that a lot of people watching this and here right now are students themselves.
How
And
many of you are students?
Yeah, I want to know.
Yeah, and
Hi.
How many of you are artists? Fantastic.
that's amazing.
I love to see it. That's beautiful.
Now, if they're wondering, right, where do I even start? Maybe I don't have someone to make music with. Maybe I don't have a fancy studio. Maybe I don't have the best equipment.
Look, I'll say this, I can say it's different now. These guys.
No.
I'm just joking. No, I would say it's different now.
You don't need anything.
When we started, it was just by ear. Everything was like there was the internet still, but like it was a long time ago, so there wasn't a lot of tutorials and stuff online. I think depending on what you're doing, self-production and recording is great to start with. That's how we started.
I've got a good, I'll go get
Yeah, you go for it.
Yeah.
Go.
Exploration. I think treating music at the beginning like it's a video game. You know what I mean? Like, just don't try and create something. Just learn. Just get, like, fully immerse yourself and just stay in that environment and learn. Even if you don't make a song, even if you don't achieve something that you wanted to achieve that day, don't put that pressure on yourself. Kind of just envelop yourself within the production world, because at the end of the day, all you need is a door. You know what I mean?
But what I wanted to say too, like to extend on that, like about actually learning, is like with TikTok and stuff these days, like, it's so quick to find actual tutorials of people who know what they're talking about, right? Yeah. And like I look at them and I'm like, oh, these people are doing what we used to do back in the day, but they like have newer software and they're doing it in a better way. So you look at that, you don't necessarily copy them, but you can take that information and mix it together to apply what in your head, like listening wise, what is better, pretty much.
It's like a spaghetti bolognese.
Is there anybody here who...
Whoever's going to university, it's still a great thing, I'm sure. But if you don't go to university, TikTok's great. So, and YouTube.
Or YouTube tutorials.
Yeah.
You know, that's how we kind of learnt production at the start on FL Studio.
Yeah, FL Studio.
Yeah.
I'm just
Some people use FL Studio here? Any Ableton people?
Ableton, yeah.
Logic? Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we went through all of them.
We still use kind of two. We still use Ableton and Logic.
Yeah.
We use a lot of Ableton to start with, actually. Sorry?
Reason. You use Reason?
Yeah, so Al City actually used Reason for a lot of his early on stuff, and his drums were immaculate because of it. Reason has really, because it's the parallel one where you just go, it's just a downward grid, right? Yeah. So yeah, Reason is awesome.
I think cross-platforming is actually really good though, because these two are very well versed in Ableton, whereas I've always used Logic, and that's my extensive knowledge. I've tried it a couple of times, but it's nice to kind of just know my zone, but be able to see what they do in theirs, and then we can mix it together. Because you can always bounce stems.
And I still think the Doors have some strange sonic value to them. They
do.
Know?
Yeah.
Like you can't produce, well, we don't do vocals in Ableton usually. Sometimes it works out really well. But like guitar, I feel like is not the same in Ableton.
But you can't do it because Seth, who's actually been... So we used to mix and engineer all of our own records, and lately we've, tried to take off some of the pressure and load from a lot of the work, and we have a great engineer named Seth. But he uses Ableton, which I've never seen, to master and do everything with it. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
damn.
So basically, there's no rules. There's no limitations. I mean, if you are studying, they will teach you certain things. I remember when I was doing the course, a lot of things they taught me, I did not listen to at all. I was like, no. So I went, basically like how my journey went with learning how to produce was I would go to university, go to the lectures, come back home and practice by myself my own way of, just by ear and listening and the feeling that it kind of invokes, also, rather than staying by the books.
You were making different types of music as well, like when you were doing the future EDM. When we started listening to dubstep, that was like the first thing we bonded over was the production in Skrillex.
2000
and you guys showed me that song Earthquake.
That's how we bonded, yeah.
Yeah, they showed, I couldn't believe that they'd had a whole finished song. I just didn't know how they did that. I was like, oh, you guys produced Me Too, and they showed me an entire song, and I was like, how the heck they do that? And then from there, the friendship grew.
Just keep making music. It's beautiful, and don't put the pressure on yourself to expect anything. But if something comes out of it, that's good. But do it for the love of it. Don't do it for the fame or for the
pressure
success.
does hit though, regardless. Even if you're killing it for one day, you wake up next day and you're like, oh no. It's a really tough one. It's a battle every day. You wake up, and I think being an artist or doing music, there's a lot of mental health wise, a lot of insecurity, and a lot of you never know. Each day can change. Like anything can blow up, right? But if you're gonna put yourself on the line and do that every day, and financially, when everything's inflated right now, yeah, you're gonna wake up with anxiety most fucking days. Like it's a tough one, and we still struggle with that. Like now, even I'm very grateful, but yeah.
I want to expand on that, right? So music aside, the technical aspect of making songs aside, what is the most rewarding thing that each of you has found to do outside of music, just as a human being, to help inspire the art and keep you in a good place?
I personally, I like to mix our art and work on the video side and imagery side as well, which gets my other side of the brain going, and I can go back to music and it's a whole different thing again, so it doesn't become like a mundane job just constantly. For me personally, everyone's different, but I like to switch up the art form on the computer a little bit, and yeah.
So playing in different mediums.
He's still on the computer, but he's doing video rather than audio.
I get in trouble for sometimes editing video instead of music, but it's fair.
I don't think you've ever been in trouble for it.
Games as well. I feel like games it's a similar world, like making music is kind of a game.
That's what I mean. Yeah, get immersed in it. Like get immersed in that environment. Don't put the pressure on yourself that you have to make a song. just get immersed and get well versed and like just learn.
Yeah, there's been times that you go to, make a beat or something or an instrumental, you get halfway through and you're like, what the hell is this? And, just try again, get back on the horse tomorrow. You can close the laptop for a little bit, go outside, and then just try again.
That's it. So that's your work-life balance.
Yeah, there's 100 crap songs for every, one good one. So
Yeah.
don't let those bad ones,
Deter you.
Yeah, deter you.
And for me personally, I like to go outdoors and go fishing and kind of be out in nature, go for walks to Yosemite, and that surprisingly enough, that kind of stuff is more inspiring than anything really. It's just
Mitchell goes off the grid. He's usually
the
in a
world
canoe.
around you.
You're in a canoe, if you're off the grid. He's not texting back. He's just gone.
Yeah. I need
might
one of
come
those
back.
gone fishing stickers on
Where's
the back
Mitchell?
of my car. It's like, I've gone fishing. I'm so sorry. I cannot actually do anything today.
instant
I've
response
gone
text.
fishing. What about you?
What do I like to do?
Yeah.
Oh, too many things. I've recently taken up cooking.
Recently?
I like cooking.
Yeah.
How old are you?
33. So Postmates is being used a lot less, but it challenges my brain. And funny enough, to your point, right? You want to learn how to
learn
do
to love it?
something, you go onto YouTube, right? I go onto YouTube, I type in what I want to make, and
and
there's
dude.
100 videos
And they're
on
all
how to
different.
make it.
There's all different types.
Uh-huh.
And you're like, which one's the right one?
A lot like you in school, I don't listen to most of the information on the video. I just kind of wing it.
Yeah.
Take a little
But
info and then use.
It's
use
been pretty
your own
good.
Source. Yeah.
It's been pretty good. I think we should take some fan questions, if that's okay.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm
Hi.
Rita. You might recognize me from earlier.
Hi.
Hi again.
Hi. I'm wondering, today we're starting our celebration of Music in Our Schools Month, but also Women's History Month. And you guys were
Yes.
talking about inspiration and recharging. Can you talk about women in your life, female musicians,
Okay.
your
Yeah.
family? Who has inspired
can-
you, and how do they continue to support you guys in your efforts?
Exactly. Well, I'm not a woman, but I would say very much that my mom, our mom,
Yeah,
I was just
not
thinking-
his.
I was
yeah,
ju-
Almo.
yeah, I was just thinking about this though. The pressure, for her, always worrying about us, going off to different places and stuff like that. I know she's not in the industry, but she pretty much is at this point. So I wanted to give a shout out to her.
That's great.
She
She'll never stop
it
worrying
can be
about
stressful,
us.
but I love her very much. And for me, I feel like mom is pretty much part of the industry at this point. She
Yeah.
hears everything about what we do, and she's so supportive, and I love her for that.
And we grew up,
yeah.
we grew up listening to a lot of music that was
Shania.
Shania Twain, just a lot of different. Which was the one with the white flag above my door? Dido. Dido, like a lot of Dido growing up. And those records were so pop influential, and I feel like it kind of embedded into our brains a little bit. And I think that was very crucial. That was very crucial because she used to play music all the time, which was fantastic. And I guess that's where the inherent love for it came from.
I get it.
Same with my mum, taking me to shows when I was young. Had the great privilege to see bands like the Eagles and stuff, and she would take me to these concerts so young, and definitely such an inspiration. And I think one thing from her, obviously the lyrics and our content can sometimes be, pretty out
Confronting.
there, but she's someone who understands, and both of our mums appreciate that it is in some ways art form.
And what was your first concert that you saw?
Yeah, the Eagles.
No. Oh, wait, second. Was it? Which one was Katy Perry?
Katy
Oh,
Perry.
Katy Perry. Okay.
B, you love it.
Katy Perry.
Kylie Minogue, you love her.
Wow, Katy Perry. What can I say? Seen her live twice. I saw her at the N Mall, which is where we just played, which was
Very cool.
maybe 1,000 people. So to then come back and play at that venue where it was just me and my father watching her, and then I also saw him do a was it the Prisms tour or the Prisms tour where it was in a huge arena. And just to see that growth, and then we've had the privilege of meeting her, and she is just the sweetest person ever, very inspiring.
All right. Well, thank
Yeah.
you guys.
I'd
Yeah.
say everyone's an artist, right? I sometimes a bunch of women artists, it's so powerful and strong. I'm like, damn, it's hard to compete with anyone these days.
It's competition, but it's more just inspiring. It's wow,
Yeah.
this is phenomenal. Carly Rae Jepsen, Queen of Pop, in my personal opinion, I don't know, she's just every song you're like, damn, that's a good chorus. That's a
Her?
really good chorus.
Her as well, the fact that she can play every instrument, and not just play it, but she's a master. of every single instrument. Just to see her go from the drums to the guitar, that's not something very many people can do.
I have to say, she reminds me of Prince.
Yeah,
I've had the pleasure of
absolutely.
seeing them both live multiple times.
Yeah.
That woman reminds me
Her
of Prince.
her cover of the Elton John song recently that I saw, I mean, even Elton John was like, I could see he was getting a bit nervous by
He's
it.
like, oh no.
It's better than how he's done it.
We made the mistake of naming one of our singles Her once. And I remember Googling it and I'm like, oh no, I've blown it. It's not, it's all just this beautiful artist. I'm like, damn it, we blew it. So we'll get it next time.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Well, hey,
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Kyle, recording
Hi,
artist
Kyle.
from Pasadena. So I'm actually a really huge fan of you guys.
Thank you.
I've been listening to you guys since I think around 2019 or so.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, grew up listening to like Lust, Rockstar. My favorite song by yours is Heaven and Back and stuff like that. So-
Really? Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
So
Yeah.
you were there for the Phases era, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's sick.
I was gonna say that as an artist right now, I have like two struggles that I'm sort of trying to work on. One is just sort of gaining my own style, and two is just sort of building like a standard workflow. And you guys have a very unique style. You guys incorporate a lot of like jazz into your stuff, incorporating like sax, and you just have like these like very like just this very unique production style.
Thank
so I
you.
was just-
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was a lot of trial and error though. Like
Yeah.
it came across when everything started hitting that worked, right? But there's some records and stuff that like before Chase Lang that wasn't sounding like that at all. It was like a whole different thing.
The toughest question is like, oh, what kind of music do you make? And then we're like,
I was just gonna see what your like. Just the two questions were what your songwriting process is, like your workflow and sitting down. and
yeah,
writing a
so
song,
standard
and-
workflow, and
Yeah.
then also
And then
finding your own sound.
style.
Yeah. I think finding your own sound, it will happen eventually. It's all about patience, like bringing it back to the 3 Ps, like practice, patience, persistence, practice, patience, persistence.
It's also natural. Your sound becomes your own as you grow with it.
You
know?
won't. I don't think you can forcefully find it. That's the thing. You'll know when you find it, and then people around you will tell you if it sounds unique.
Well, I feel like for us at the start, we maybe weren't sure of what our own sound was indefinitely until people were like, "This is very Chase Atlantic sounding."
And then we're
This
like,
song
okay,
sounds
cool.
like a Chase Atlantic song, and then that was kind of how we evolved, I guess, our sound even more. But it's still changing. Like we always say,
Incorporating different elements that you wouldn't like do on a regular basis.
Yeah,
You know
I'll
what I mean?
say,
Like
like-
going against the grain of what like standard production is. Like mixing things that shouldn't really be mixed. Like making some kind of weird dish that hopefully tastes good at the end.
And when you guys start out like a lot of the instrumentals, like when I hear it, I'm like, but then I'm like, oh wait, like let me think about that, and then we'll maybe add like your guitar into it, or the saxophone, and just a couple of little like psychoacoustic elements from production of like different reverb styles. Trying to find maybe a signature reverb sound even, or like how you want to appear, like maybe very dry and clean in the mix.
Yeah.
It's the subtle differences that really will change.
Trial and error for sure.
And you
Definitely
guys,
trial
you guys
and
have had 4. You guys are on album 4 right now.
Yeah.
Trying.
So it's. I think it's a volume game too, where you need to keep releasing music in order for people to relate it back to the band. You have
Yes.
enough music out there to when someone hears a song, they're like, "Hey, that's like Chase Atlantic." Kyle, you
Yeah.
have 2 songs. You said 2 songs. You have
I
2
have
songs
one-
out.
I have one song out.
Are you
You
getting
have
called
one
Keep
song.
dropping music,
Yeah.
and you'll build a sound.
That's the whole thing. Is a lot of people nowadays they drop singles and singles and singles. I think that you definitely go that route if you want to. There's no, like I said, there's no rules to this. There is literally no rules. Like the world is your oyster when it comes to music. But what I've found to be actually quite more productive is to kind of wait and collect those songs and release some, even if it's a small body of work. You know what I mean? And with your standard workflow, some days, man, you just gotta, even if you don't want to do it, you just sit down and you're like, all right, I start, and then something in your brain will click, and then you'll actually feel inspired. You know what I mean? It's not like the inspiration's gonna be naturally there some days. But also don't force yourself, like I said. It's very...
I get it too. You probably have like, because you're still figuring out, you don't want to release something that like, because it's out, once it's out there, it's like under your brand name,
Yeah,
right? That is a fear for me too. I totally get it. But once you kind of feel the groove, then start doing that. Like, there's no rush to. Like you said, though, it is really good to keep putting shit out. That's what we did. Just put
Also,
like
our old stuff isn't incredible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
exactly.
Like you have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere, and it's only going to get better.
Let's say your second album's gonna like be way cooler than what you wanted. Then you can just show the progression.
Yeah.
At this point, because I get it, I hold a lot of stuff back. I'm like, no, we can't do that. But then it comes
need
out,
a
I'm like,
starting
shit, I should have
basis.
just released that.
Well, thank you.
No
Yeah.
worries.
You're very
Love you
welcome,
guys.
and good luck, and have fun with
make
that
some
shit.
noise, guys.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Thanks, Kyle. Next question.
Hi, I'm Victoria. I'm currently a first-year music industry student over at USC, just down the block. And I've kind of heard you guys, and you guys have a very unique sound and a sound that is always evolving. So my question is, who are your biggest influences to create that ever-evolving sound and the music that you consider now to be Chase Atlantic?
Yeah, like I said, it's a tough question. Everyone says, what music do you make? And it's like,
It's a cocktail, right? It's a blend of how we're feeling that day. I think we always incorporate some sort of like Australian upbringing with us, because Australian music is primarily bands, quite different to what we make. But then when we first moved to America, hearing the influence of like R&B drums and just the backbeats, just all of that just inspired this cocktail mix that what somehow infused and turned into a Chase Atlantic sound. But even sometimes we can never put a label on it.
oh, I have no idea how to explain it.
Yeah, you know, if you listen to songs like the last record where we have Paranoid, and if you played that to Wasted, even though they're two completely separate style of song, there's still the Chase Atlantic undertone to it, which I think comes...
It comes with, I think, probably like the repertoire. Like people get, the more music you release, the more people can associate that sound, and the easier it is to link the two. You know what I mean? Like you listen to bands like the 1975, you know immediately it's the 1975. There's no doubt about it.
Even
Are
if
you
it's
a-
Travis
goofy.
Scott, you know immediately it's Travis Scott.
Are you a vocalist and producer or what?
I currently am interested in more of the business side of the industry, but
Yeah.
I
Okay.
do performance every once in a while, yes.
Yeah, of course.
Nice.
I mean, I think it's important to know both.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to get into business without having some sort of the knowledge of the music. And I think vice versa, when you do music, having knowledge of the business is just going to help you go a long way.
It's also very important, the business side of it.
Yes.
Like, very important. We've escaped some very,
Yes.
like, just things in the industry that, you know, could stop an artist for a amount of
little
time.
red flags, little landmines.
Which is it's always going to happen. So it's great you're doing both.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Everyone
Next
make some
question.
noise.
Yeah, give it a clap.
Hey.
Hey y'all, I'm 16. I'm Taylor.
Hi, Taylor.
But I'm a 16-year-old singer-songwriter, and so what like really helped you guys in high school figure out your sound? I'm already I have a producer and a co-writer. So what's the next step to be able to make this dream a reality?
Persistent. Like I said, the 3 P's is just practice and then patience, persistence, and then you can reverse and put them in any order, whichever makes sense. I think patience is very important as well, because we've been on this journey for a long time.
And there was definitely moments early on when we first came to LA where we weren't sure why it wasn't happening so quickly, why we weren't, you know, the #1 band in the world instantly. And it's just because we weren't sure of the journey and what needs the back end that you
Takes
have to
time.
go in place. Because a big part of it that, you know, we didn't even think about was that you have to tour and you have to play. You know, we played 153 shows in a year.
Yeah.
We were the second most toured band in a year, one year. I think 2018.
Yeah.
So, like you said, persistence, patience.
Patience is very critical. But you said, you're still 16. You have a lot of room for growth.
I would also say technically, like, if you want to try different vocal, like, even lyrics, like different little things that might just take maybe one genre and then bend it a little bit. Like for us, we did a lot of ad-libs during our like poppier music, which usually was just seen in hip-hop and R&B. And with those like, you know, those long reverb tails and stuff like that, it kind of broke the barrier between genres. So different techniques from different genres while you're producing with your voice, maybe just a couple little things, just like edgy and different, that'll get people's attention, I think.
Thank you. So I do like a country pop. What's the best like audio program to like learn producing?
There's
I would
no
say
best.
Ableton,
There's
maybe
there's no real best one. So like I started on Fruity Loops, went to Cubase, Tried Reason for a little bit. Wanted to do Logic. Ended up getting a Samsung computer, so I couldn't do Logic. But I found Ableton through there, and then I just stuck with it. It's all about trial and error. Like, I can't say that enough. Like, you just got to keep trying new things.
Ableton's quite user-friendly at the start, but it's really whatever feels most comfortable for you. And, you know, don't be afraid to try Logic and all of them. And if you're doing country singer-songwriting,
Yeah,
Logic would be
maybe
great
Logic
too.
though, because Logic's like a lot more. There's a lot of problems on the production end of like being like user-face friendly for producing, but like
It's good for
as far as
audio.
recording and mixing and stuff. I find Logic a little more user-friendly.
A little more logical.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
y'all so much.
Very good
Very
pun.
good.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very
Taylor.
much.
Hi, my name is Josh. I'm a freshman at Howard University in DC.
What's up, Josh?
Thank you. What's up? What's up? I have two questions for y'all. The first is y'all said that your first performance was in front of like 10,000 people.
Okay, well,
That was by
that wasn't
accident.
our crowd
That
though.
doesn't
That
count.
wasn't our crowd. Definitely
Oh.
not our crowd. So
No. I was just wondering, like, how do you make that happen? Like, did y'all
Oh,
audition
we
for
got
something,
thrown into
or-
that situation.
Okay.
No,
is it your dad's fault? It was Brian's
Yeah,
fault?
it was.
Someone's fault?
So we were, when we first started, we were doing a kind of a strange X Factor thing that was put together. But luckily, that's how we met, and through that we met a contact, and he put us in contact with someone who would just put on halftime shows. You know, so people who do dancing.
We just got hit up.
So we just thought this is our first performance because you're right. It's like for a
But
first
I will
performance.
say our first proper performance as Chase Atlantic wasn't that. That was just something
No,
we did.
Yeah.
So we gained a little bit of traction online, and we were fortunate enough during the whole. I wouldn't compare it, but like that One Direction phase that came up a little bit, and like people were just like going a little bit crazy over bands and stuff. So we kind of utilized that online, and our first show was probably like 150 people or something like that.
Maybe even less in Sydney, about
Yeah.
75.
So we
to
did like a
100
mini
people.
couple of shows and tried it out, and it got a little bit of traction. It still wasn't what we wanted it to be, but
I mean, like, we were happy at
worked.
the time. We were very happy at the time. Like, because that was the starting point, you know? That was the starting point. We, like, 75 people, we were like, wow, I can't believe 75 people came to see us. Like, we didn't expect any. So I think it's about putting yourself out there, going outside your comfort zone, and just really like work, like just being grateful for if it's 10 people or if it's 10,000 people.
just as far as like traveling around though, I know it's expensive, so like maybe a couple of merch items that you think would be really fucking sick with the core fan base that are coming through. Just to at least you're probably not going to break even or anything, but at least you can support that, because you've got to remember like touring is also like a promo press run as well, like in a sense. Yeah, so we sacrificed a little bit of cash here and there, but it was worth it every time. So
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, but it sounds to me like the show with 75 or 100 people was way better than the show with 10,000 people.
100%.
Well, we didn't get
Yeah,
booed.
no, we didn't
Right?
get booed, yeah.
So-
they actually came to see us.
That's
We
it.
didn't just walk out and these people like, who are these guys?
So I think the message here is to really focus on building a
core
community
fan base.
and a core fan base rather than trying to
Yes.
get lucky and be
Yeah.
put in front of a
No.
lot of people.
Luck is...
yeah, that doesn't work. It didn't work for us. It was,
Yeah.
like, again,
No,
but
that
was the
has
whole
nothing
thing.
to do with really anything. That has nothing to do with anything, that performance that we did.
That's more of a joke. Yeah, but that's right.
From the
yeah.
beginning, yeah. Work on creating a core fan base, because once you have a core fan, you can have a fan base, like you can gain clout, you can have a hit song and like get famous extremely quickly and successful, but you can also fall at that same pace. So you want to create a core fan base, people that stick around, people that want to hear more, and you basically have a fan base for life.
Okay. Yeah, and then it's good that y'all mentioned touring, because that was my second question. It was, y'all said that in 2018 you guys were the second most toured band in the year. And how does that affect your mental state, and how do you stay
It's
grounded?
bad.
Still
despite
recovering.
being constantly on the move.
It's very difficult, but if you have the passion, if you have the love for it, then you know what I mean. It's difficult when you're not on stage. When you hit that stage, it's not difficult at all, because if you really love it and you really like put your heart and soul into it, that's the beauty of it. Everything else around it's a little difficult. You know what I mean? Finances, travels, but once you hit that stage, if you love what you're doing and you're confident in yourself, then there's no better feeling, no better drug in the whole entire world.
Yeah. I'd say being younger too. Like we were definitely much younger back then. it was possible physically to do it. You know, we could pull it off. We can still do it now, but it does get a little exhausting.
Have
after
fun
time.
with it.
Yeah, depends. Like, are you trying to perform with other people as well on stage, or like?
Nah.
See,
Yeah,
that
no,
makes
you
it
got it,
easier.
man.
You got like drum miking or any like guitar amps or anything being mic'd on stage. That if you long you don't do that, you keep it simple. You should be great.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in the future, but
Yeah,
like,
that's the
just-
thing. It's all about
Yeah,
progression.
you can
Yeah.
level up though. You can always level up. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, I know it wasn't that first show in front of those people when it was just 2 guitar amps and no drums.
We still
We
were
did
playing our music. We
did
loved
our
it.
best,
Yeah.
and it just naturally progressed to the point where we knew we really wanted a drummer. We knew we really wanted a bass guitarist, and we tried some people out, and then eventually we
Just so happened that there were 2 best friends.
Yeah.
2 best
and
friends,
they're amazing
Jess
too.
and Pat, and now they're our
And
best
now
friends.
our best friends
But
too.
as Chase Atlantic and our sound goes, we still do run tracks on stage. Not to cover any mess up, but we like the sound of it all. Like that's
that's
our
getting
sound.
into the
But we do-
technicalities. That's
yeah,
getting into the
I mean, Yeah, I'm
technicalities.
just doing a university course here. I'm sorry.
So
Thank you. Thanks for
Okay,
your question,
yeah,
man.
thank you, man.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, make some noise.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Zoe. I'm a music industry student at USC. And as someone who's been a fan of you guys since the release of your self-titled album, I really enjoy listening to each of the singles that drop before you release the full album or EP. So my question is, when selecting singles to release before an album, what factors do you consider, and what's the process of choosing which songs to showcase before the full album or EP drops?
Yeah, gut intuition. Whichever song just feels like the strongest one to you personally, because there's no other you can bounce the idea off other people. Everyone's gonna have a whole different perspective. If you want to stay true to yourself as an artist, just whichever one feels the most correct within your gut. Just follow your gut intuition.
I think playing it for a group of people too, not at the same time, but individually when you're hanging out with a friend that you work with or trust, or just different types of people, and just seeing from different demographics, kind of what the result is when you're one-on-one with them. Right, testing.
Just get all the demographics. Just go.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah, try it out.
No, but it's so true.
You play it for your dad. What's he gonna say?
He's gonna hate it. He's gonna hate it.
Yeah, 'cause I feel oh, sorry.
Which
go
means
ahead.
it's a hit, by the way, if he does hate
Okay,
it.
well, I was gonna say for phases, I feel like Her and Love Is Not Easy, they're so different, right? But I feel like you guys couldn't have picked better songs to encapsulate the Phases album.
Thank you.
Well, that's a very important part as well. On the first releases, if you release 3 or 2 of the songs that sound too similar, you're not kind of showing the variety, I guess, of the album. And I think one of the things for us is that we are so diverse in the music we make and how we're feeling at the time, especially you can hear it in Beauty and Death, of moments of confidence and then moments of vulnerability. Even with the release of Empty before as a single, that versus Out the Roof. Out the Roof was the confident comeback, and then to go into an Empty where it's during COVID, we were concerned, we were scared, we didn't know, everyone was so unsure.
It's a summation of life, really. So it's up every single day you wake up, you don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? You could have an amazing day, you could have just a regular day, stock standard, or you could have a really shitty day. But
it's showing we like to show the variety as much as we can before it comes out, so that you don't think, because you might not like one of the songs, but maybe the other one speaks to you.
Yeah.
So it's just the best kind of way to encapsulate the body of art, I guess.
Perfect.
variety.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you so much. Everyone makes it nice.
Next question.
Hi, my name is. Oh.
It's a little tall there.
Yeah.
You can probably just pull it down a little bit. You should be good. I think. Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Jennifer, and I've been listening to y'all since Warped Tour 2018. And
Wow.
2018. Warped
Yeah.
Tour.
how does it feel to sell out international dates like Mexico?
Sorry, one more time.
You might need to come a
How
little
does
closer.
how
I'm so
does
sorry.
it feel to sell out international dates like Mexico?
It's a great
you've
feeling.
got good ears on you.
Thank you.
You should get into
Yes,
music.
just recently. It's insane. We keep getting surprised because we, I don't know. We kind of just live our lives just day by day, and we don't really expect too much. You know what I mean? We're not forcing anything. And then these opportunities arise, you want to do a tour, and like we would be happy with any of the results, and then it sells out, and you go, wow, how fortunate are we?
You know, there's no sign when you put, you know, when you sell tickets, there's no one telling you like you're going to sell this out. What the hell was that?
It's an airplane. Shh.
Hey, come on, we're doing an interview up here. There's no way to tell, you know, like I remember for London, you know, the last time we had been there just before COVID, we had sold, you know, 700 tickets, which was huge for us. It was our biggest show, and then the next time I think it was 18.
It's crazy how you just get used to it.
Yeah, you just get used to it somehow. Like it.
And we just did 15,000 in London, I think, at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, 15,000 in London.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
then-
but like, regardless, 200 people or 15,000, I love the shows with 200 people still.
They're actually scarier too, I would say.
I love them.
That's a very important thing that we've learned, that even if you're performing in front of 3,000, 4,000 people, or, you know, we played a show, I won't say
100%.
where it was, I think only 700 in a, you know, like a 4,000 person room.
We're not going to be bummed out.
We're not going to be bummed out, and it's going to be the same show no matter what. You're going to do the same performance, because the people who are there are still dedicated and they want to see your performance.
Yeah,
you know?
everyone deserves the same show.
Same show, no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if one person, they're going to get the best
They're
show
gonna
of
get
their
the
life.
best one-person show ever.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Hey,
What's up, G?
my name's Lenny.
Hey, Lenny.
So pre-COVID, you know, things were a lot different in the industry, and I feel like the way small artists found opportunities change. And so back pre-COVID, an artist, Lauren Sanderson, toured with you.
Yes.
And Lauren explained, she reached out and said you guys really liked what they were doing, and you got the opportunity to tour with you. So after COVID now, I feel like that changed, especially like without Warped Tour. That was such a big opportunity
Yeah.
for artists. What would you recommend for small artists like myself to present music lovers or other artists or management booking?
Yeah.
You know, your stuff for more
What's your
opportunities
artist
like
name?
that. I'm Lenny J.
Lenny J?
Yeah, I
Well,
don't know if
we'll
you guys
check
remember. We chilled outside Voltage Lounge in Philly when you first came here. Like
The
it was
Vocal Lounge?
Voltage.
Voltage, was that 2017?
Yeah, it was freezing out. You
Damn.
and
I
we
think,
were-
yeah, you look familiar.
Yeah, and then a few years later, we were on Warped Tour together with Youngblood. I did a little bit of
Yeah.
the run, and so I got to meet you a few times. And you know, COVID happened, and it
Yeah.
changed a
Yes.
lot.
I mean, that was scary for everyone, COVID.
Yeah,
and,
and so here we are, a little in the future.
Yeah,
How would you recommend?
I think
for things like that.
Yeah, I think now more than ever, I mean, the internet is a very prevalent thing. Just reaching out to artists, you never know, because there's like we were saying earlier, we're all still very much fans of music, regardless of status. If it's good music, it's good music. That's the facts. So I'm always looking at different artists, and I know these guys are as well. They're always like looking and discovering new artists. And so even just putting yourself out there, even if no one replies, but putting yourself out there and reaching out, you never know what could happen. Like someone could love the music.
It's 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think the internet being very prevalent post-COVID, obviously. So yeah, definitely just reach out and then, yeah.
As an opening act too, I will say it's not. It can be a bit tough sometimes too, because like even though you could be selling all these tickets, the artist or band that is the headlining might not be making that much either in the actual turnaround of things. So, you know, it's something you have to kind of fork out sometimes to be an opening act, which we did many times.
Many times.
It's you do it for the promotion and being out there and stuff like that, which is the best way to do it.
Yep.
But
It's
it
an
can
investment.
be. It can be. It's an investment.
I mean, even talking about Warped Tour, like we weren't making anything. We just had, you know,
It's just getting really hot. It's really hot.
We
Yeah.
just we just
bad.
waking up
Yeah.
real early
And
and
then,
then
you know,
playing shows at random
26 shows in
Yeah.
a row,
That
and
was
you
fun.
have no idea what time you're playing.
Just have to wake
You
up.
have to unload the bus every day at 7 o'clock.
And then 2 band members have to set up the stage every morning at 7.
Yeah, 7 o'clock, and then you have no idea what
You
time
remember
you're
the
playing.
good old days.
But it's I think we're getting to a better place in the music industry where there's going to be more room. But I've definitely noticed there's less risks involved lately. People don't want to take risks. They want to be really certain that you're either going to sell tickets there, or they'll make sure that they've just got one venue booked as a decent size. It's just not as...
Don't be shy, man. Put yourself out there.
I'm trying.
Just go for gold. Go for gold medal every time.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Lenny.
Thank you, man. You're very welcome.
All right, last question.
Hi, I'm Sophia. I'm a singer-songwriter, and I'm a sophomore in high school currently. My question for you is, because you guys said that you started out in Australia and you mainly, focused around the musical trends in that country, and then you did a transition to America and to all these different countries, do you think that in your song creation process, do you think that incorporating different styles of music, from different countries, do you think that that's kind of a risky option for artists that are just starting out?
No.
Because personally, I'm not a music producer. I'm kind of like playing around with Ableton a little bit, but I'm very involved in the process with my producers that I work with, so I've incorporated things like, K-pop and American pop, Eastern and Western musical styles. But I was just wondering if you think that that's a risky thing to do.
No,
for
it's
someone.
all very international now, especially
Everything,
with the internet. So
everything is a risk in music. You know what I mean? You're putting your heart on your sleeve. You're making art and you're saying, I think this is good. I'm gonna release it. And then that's the scary part, is that people say this is bad, boo.
But incorporating
that
those
can't
different,
let that deter you.
But incorporating all of it together too, you don't have to like find everything and put it together. But having little elements from here and there is great, because we surprise ourselves when we see markets that we've never been to like selling out, and we're like, oh shit, because I guess the music just started to feel natural. And when it starts to feel natural and not thought out in that way, like, I know what you're saying. It did sound more Australian UK vibe when we started, because we were kind of limiting ourselves to like just what we thought we wanted to do. But then we realized what we really wanted to do happened to be like a bunch of
everything
genres from everywhere.
We want to do everything, and there's nothing wrong with taking risks. Even if you fall flat on your face, there's nothing wrong with taking risks.
Don't be afraid.
Like, that's the whole thing with music. Put your heart on your sleeve, believe in yourself, be persistent, be patient, practice, and like you're gonna find good results one day. If you give up, you'll never know what you could have been. You know what I mean? And so whether it's the type of music or the genre or the versatility of all these different countries and their styles of music, whether it's like drill or like, you know what I mean? We might put a drill song on this next album.
We might put a country song on the next album. You never know.
We're ready to take those risks. And I think that's very important as aspiring musicians, as you guys are, and we are still aspiring musicians.
What did you say to me yesterday? It was like, the time when it feels the scariest to jump in is when you jump in.
Yeah, that's when you
jump. So if you're
jump.
having that thought, or maybe working on a song that is like K-pop inspired,
Double down.
double down.
I'll also say, like, when I like produce some stuff, I have more fun doing stuff that we usually wouldn't do. Like, even if it's not for Chase Atlantic, you might find some elements doing a different style just for the fun of it that you can bring back over, and you might enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, Know Me on SoundCloud, I made like that future bass track. You sent me that loop. Yeah.
21 beats per minute.
Yeah, 21 BPM.
I made this crap sound and I slowed it down to 21 beats per
and
minute.
then I made a whole.
And then he made a whole trap song. Out
and
of
then we recorded it, and I was probably what, like 15, 16, 15.
And it was at a time where we were getting, people thought that we were too similar to the 1975.
And it was like, yeah.
I know, right? Like,
it was the complete opposite of that.
I saw, you see some things. It's like, these guys are copying, and then they do like 10 bands, and it's like, yeah, well, that means they're not copying. If it's 10 different bands, which one is it?
Which one are we copying?
But yeah, definitely don't be afraid. It's music. We all are music lovers here.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be gatekeeping on certain sounds and certain...
No limitations, no boundaries.
There you
If
go.
you start to think about that and overthink about it, then it's just hurting your craft at all. So double down on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself, and you will... everyone else will believe in you. I promise. You just got to be patient sometimes.
Well said. Thank you so
Cheers.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
we got
you.
a video from Chase Atlantic. We're going to play right now. Really? Yeah.
Hit it,
I know. We'll be back.
I've been catching planes for the fun of it, and I've been watching fame turn to punishment. The weather's only sunny when I'm under it, and I haven't really changed. I'm just confident. I'm just fucking lucky I was born with it. 100 million people couldn't deal with this. I've been trying to go 'cause people kill for it. This mental pressure got me popping pills and shit. But I'm into it, I'm into it. Said she wanna fuck me later, girl, I'm into it. I'm into it, I'm into it. This mental pressure got me popping pills and shit. Oh, I'm into it, I'm into it. I'm getting way too deep, I'm fucking into it. I'm into it, I'm into it. I wouldn't change it for the world, I'm into it. 'Cause I've been on the road since I was 16. They don't really notice how I say things. These girls, they come and go between my bed sheets. And I've been doing blowing cars and big scenes. Pull up and we're higher than a big tree. She don't really like it, but she needs it, yeah. She's saying she don't really miss me. What? You know I'm faded out the wrong things, yeah. I'm into it, I'm into it. Said she wanna fuck me later, girl, I'm into it. I'm into it, yeah, I'm into it. This mental pressure got me popping pills and shit. Oh, I'm into it, I'm into it. I'm getting way too deep, into it. I'm into it, yeah, I'm into it. I wouldn't change it for the world. Getting into it, yeah, 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 yeah. Hands up. I'm into it, girl, I'm into it. No smooth. Let's go. If you're at your house right now watching this, turn that all the way up. Full volume. It doesn't matter if your parents are asleep.